I'm Joshua, and I'm an INTP. And in this video, I would like to talk about INTPs and social relations. So, just previously, I have spent the day with a very good INFJ friend of mine, and we have had several conversations on MBTI and just personality, philosophy, and truth, and what can be known and obtained. And I flash a very faint grin because that was a very enriching and enthralling conversation. And it's to say here that as an introvert, rarely, and I'm tired right now, and as an introvert, I get tired from being with people, but being with this INFJ friend of mine and being able to have these conversations with them, to be able to talk about the truth and just run and mull over all that we think, and seeing even the tertiary introverted thinking that is in him, and being able to somewhat look at it and combat it from sort of a different vantage point. It's almost looking at my own thoughts. It was just, it was so enthralling and just very sensual, insofar as making me come alive in a social situation and being engaged as an individual. And that's what I want to say here from my subjective experience, which I won't be making videos much more talking about these sort of things, because I'm not sure to what service they have. But I will say this to INTPs, and this may be the briefest video that I make, is do find a friend or a few friends in which you can have those wonderful and amazing conversations that push you to the brink of your ideas and understanding of the world, because it seems to me that that's the real capacity that I have. And if I'm going to derive any sort of meaning and fulfillment in the world, it seems as if I will only do it through ideas, logic, and just some sort of investigation and rendering of the truth, and trying to understand it as deeply and best as I can, and being able to have dialectic with others and create some sort of intellectual community. I think that so often what might be lost, because in INTP we suppress extroverted feeling, is the need for an intellectual community. I think it's so hard for us to assimilate ourselves in the world, because particularly in Western culture, there's such a strong anti-intellectual bent in American culture. And also the INTP, we may go to university or college and see that, the system and the structure has been just strangled and drowned with so much bureaucracy that the spirit of intellectualism is only housed in certain quarters and will vanish at just the mere whisper of it, because it's so sensitive and delicate, and the capital and milital complex that has taken over the universities. And I think our disillusionment with the world comes in the lack of intellectual stimuli, or being sort of foreign strangers in a I suppose world that doesn't value even what we are concerned with. I had to think very strongly about that without using the words I would prefer to use, because I don't want to be offensive. It's just to say that no, there's a real push in the culture we exist in to cause NTs, particularly NTPs, to feel as if we're not a part, and that doesn't really bother INTPs, and I don't think that that bothers ENTPs either. But I think that the thing that we do need as a type and as individuals who have extroverted feeling as their inferior function, or even an ENTP who has it as their tertiary function, is that we need other intellectuals. We need people. It's to have colleagues, contemporaries, as in intellectual colleagues and intellectual peers and enthusiasts and other thinkers in our midst, just a part of our collusion and circle that permits the transmission of ideas and argumentation and just pure dialectic. It's just so fulfilling, and I think that maybe as an INTP or an ENTP you have a hard time in school, or you have not the best appreciation for institutions and organizations, because I don't like them either. But it's something that I'm finding through my collegiate experience and through speaking with other NTs and NFs, that there is a need for us, I think, in finding intellectual communities and really being a presence in those intellectual communities. And it seems to be the only space in which an INTP can emerge, and there be some deference and respect for what they present and what they bring to the table, which is, I think, a thing that most INTPs are concerned with to some extent. The world rarely takes me serious because of the jovial appearance I have and the pedantic nature that I can have, or even the flighty and whimsical nature that I can have, or just the quirkiness. But I know very really that my ideas are serious ones, and I think that I work on them and kill the ones that are inefficient and the ones that don't work, because if anything, my self-esteem is derived in my intellectual efficacy and my ingenuity. And I think that the intellectual communities which are extant in the world are a vehicle and a place for INTPs to not only derive a tremendous amount of meaning for themselves, but to contribute to these communities and strengthen them in a way that I think only an INTP can uniquely do in ENTPs, because it seems to be that the ability to notice errors, inconsistencies, and being combative really with ideas and devil's advocate, sort of fireproofing and fire retarding people's ideas and frameworks, is something that's the prospect of the NTP. And so I would just say that though I enjoy my solitude, I am starting now to realize in these latter stages in life, well, not that I'm very old, I'm not old at all, so I don't know why I'm saying it as if I have 40 some odd years of experience, because I only have like a very brief 20 years of experience. But it's just to say that I am realizing now that no, I don't like everyone, and most people should still leave me alone. But there is, I suppose, in my mind now emerging an ideal intellectual space in which I think that the INTP and the ENTP we could exist in, not that it would be utopia. And it's almost like I see now how the idealist and the ENFP or the INFJ feel when they have that nascent and provocative revelation of something that's not quite there, but so delicate and so wondrous. It's a whisper, but there may be a place coming once again, like the Library of Alexandria or School of Athens, where one could be. And the only thing that it is a vehicle and a means for seeking of truth and the expression of knowledge, and the perfection and investigation of it. It's sad that universities and colleges don't actually exist in that capacity any longer, but I think so long as we continue to hold on to that idea and try to make it something in which we can have in our own personal space, that us NTPs, we can find a tremendous amount of fulfillment in our lives. And if you haven't sought to engineer a space for yourself or seek out a space for yourself that's somewhat like this, I would encourage you to do so. Thank you.